Right, welcome back to NZ Micro Outlaw Customs. So, on this video, we're going to jump back a few weeks and fold these bits up and show laying them out. And then we've got to basically put these center pieces in and then make the brackets to weld in for where they bolt onto the car. This is Studebaker, not the Dodge, but same principle. It's got 3 legs instead of 2 like this one, and it's got the holes in it like that. So yeah, we're gonna have to get all the positions for that, plus where they bolt onto the guards or fenders or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, we're gonna make all those bits up and weld 3 things in here. I'll try and mimic it as close as I can. This is actually all folded and doubled over and whatever. We're not quite doing that. This is made out of 1.6mm, the main pieces, and then the strips in the middle will be 3mm thick, which is 1/8. So that's 16 gauge, and these strips are 1/8. I've got enough here to make 5 complete without putting a joint in. And the last one might have to have a couple of joins. It is what it is. Without going buying another length. I've got plenty of material. But yeah, I'll just, I'm a bit shy for one. I'll have to put a couple of joins in it, which won't matter. It's underneath. It's not as though you're going to be lying underneath looking at it. So yeah, for one. And then I'll have to drill the holes for these pieces. These aren't any good. There's one that's okay. But I'll put the holes in, so if he ever wants to put them on, we'll get some made, or whatever, like get some cast up or made up or whatever. If he ever wants to do that, probably not, but I'll put the holes in there, so if he does, they're there and he knows where they go, if you know what I mean. Like you could probably get something folded up out of some slightly heavy aluminium plate, you know, and get it kind of laser cut or water jet cut or whatever, you know, similar to this one. This is the only one that's decent, if you know what I mean. So you could probably get that folded out of some heavier gauge aluminium plate, and you know you could mimic it reasonably easy, I think, without too much cost. I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that you could, you know, work out where that was folded and probably anneal it and then fold and anneal that and fold, and you know you could probably get this laser cut out or water jet cut out if you had decent access to something, or you could just, if you knew somebody that could cast them up, make a pattern and then make 4, if you know what I mean. Or you may discover somebody that's got, you know, you might come across a couple of 3 over some swap meets or whatever, and then you can put them on. So we'll put the holes in there, and at least they can be put on if whoever wants to put them on. And I'm assuming that, you know, this here could probably be replicated with something at some point, you know, make some aluminium trims up to go around the edges or whatever. Or you could just put that black rubber matting on it and a bit of an aluminium trim around the edge. You could soon fold that up. But yeah, we're just making the main bases and putting all the bracing in so they can be bolted on, and then you can cover them or whatever. You can put, you know, put some black rubber on there or whatever, you know. We'll just get them all welded up and cleaned up, and we'll blow a bit of, flick a bit of etch on them or something like that. So they're, you know, sort of semi-protected in the meantime until he decides what he's going to do. So I've already marked the positions for the strips, so we'll measure them out and cut them up. We'll weld them in, and then we'll have to join one up, and then we'll start making some of these, and we'll measure all the positions out and we'll get them on. So yeah, it shouldn't be too long. It might be, I got a little bit of time this morning, and then yeah, I might have to do a little bit Monday, just depending on what happens with these other cars coming in. But yeah, hopefully I can get one of them in maybe before the end of the weekend, or Monday or Tuesday, so I can get some cash flow going again. But yeah, we'll get there. So yeah, we'll jump back earlier in the footage that I've already got from making these other bits, and we'll see you in a couple minutes. Right, so that's those sorted. So I just got to join this one together in 2 spots. Now, it is what it is. It's not a biggie. So I'll get a bit of probably that bit of angle on, or yeah, probably use that long piece and just put it in the vise and lay it on an angle, and then we will lay that in it and we'll just tack weld it together, and that'll keep it nice and straight. I think that bit's reasonably straight. I can't remember what I had that bit of tube on it for. Something doesn't really matter, if you know what I mean, but yeah. So we'll weld those together and then we'll trim that to true length. I just cut it a wee bit long just because I knew there was a bit of a daggy piece and whatever on there. And that one there is not 100% straight, so we might have to just trim that so a little bit. But we'll weld that one together and then we can clean up along where these are meant to be. And we can weld them in there and then obviously get them pretty even in between. And as long as we stitch weld it up there, and then we'll just burn in every sort of, I don't know, maybe every couple of 3 inches sort of type thing. Then just do it like a good inch stitch weld down each side, and they'll be golden. And I'll just put a couple of clamps on it so it doesn't warp. I know it's going to get hot, but it won't matter too much on the whole wooden bench. At some point I will, if I ever get a little bit more organised, I've said this in earlier videos, if I can get that far side with where the tractors are gone, in another shed out there, my plan is to put this blue shelving, just briefly, where those red boxes and stuff are. I'll put it along here between where that cupboard is and the mezzanine floor, and have that for places to put stuff, and then I can utilise this area a bit better for a bit more tooling and whatever, like some shrink stretcher and like the folder and stuff like that. I can have that a bit more set out, and then I can probably put a drag this down here a couple of feet, you know, I've got plenty of room here, and then put a steel workbench down there, like a fab table, or vice versa, if you know, put the fab table down here and then put the wooden one down there for doing woodwork. Because when you're working on old vintage stuff, it's all well, you know, it's all wood on the inside, so you got to make wood pieces, which I quite enjoy. I'm not a great woodworker, but you know, with a bit of time and whatever, you know, you can end up with a pretty decent result. So, you know, all the bits and pieces I made for that all work. So, you know, it all works out good. That's what the bandsaw for is for. Like at some point, that's got a wood blade in it, but I'd like to get another one with a steel blade. So, you know, it's just one of those things. It just takes time to accumulate the tools and whatever. And at some point, I want to get rid of that piece of shit. Unfortunately, the owner of the Studebaker bought this, and just it was about $1,000 here in New Zealand, but it's just garbage. It really is garbage. It really needed to spend probably 4 or 5 to get one of those half decent ones with a digital readout and whatever. Because the first time I used that, I actually bent the chuck or spindle. Well, I was trying to shave down some bits of steel to make some trims and bits and pieces for, like, to making a little, I guess you'd call it buck. And yeah, now it's got a fucking wobble on it. There's not much I can do about it. Like, it grabbed because it's very difficult to get this thing to hold. Like, it's got a hold here and a hold up here. But it's not strong enough. It needed all the decent ones I've seen now for $2, $3, $4 grand. They've got a dovetail, slide up and down, so the head can't move per se, if you know what I mean. But this here, I had it as tight as I could get it, and it was cutting. And then when I went to do another pass, it just, when it was doing its first sort of pass, it sort of cut and grabbed, and like it might have been taken a slightly bigger, too much of a cut, but instead of cutting the piece of steel, it just pulled the frickin' head round. Yeah, and like broke it and bent it. So this is a piece of garbage, don't bother. You can see the runoff in it. I probably would get away with just putting a chuck in it, but I don't know, it's just shit. I've used it for a few things to clean up a few little bits and pieces, making stuff, but yeah, it's not good. It's okay, but it's not good. Like I used it to make, sorry I'm getting off subject here, but I used it to, this back piece here, I used it to help finish that off, because the wheel covers, we got some new ones made like this, and I used it to mimic what these were, to hold the spare wheel on. He's going to use one of these old bands. I think he's actually got 5 wheels coming, or bands. So yeah, this is used to, this was missing, this piece, with all the lock and everything on it, and he just had this piece and the brackets, but didn't have any of the rest, so I made that off photos, but it's actually meant to have a key lock, but we just thought, well, you know, what's the likelihood of needing a key lock now? Nowadays, you know, the likelihood of somebody pinching a steel wheel off this is pretty slim, you know, if you are using it, so we just put it on there. It's just a 2-inch socket to take that off. So yeah, the tooling that will undo the normal wheel nuts caps when you're going to take a wheel off, because if you've ever got to swap a wheel or actually swap a full rim, you've got to take that center cap off, or if you just swap a rim, you know, whatever, but it's the same thing, if you know what I mean. If you've ever got to grease your wheels or whatever, or check your things, it's the same nut to take that tool off as what it is to take that off. So that's why we kind of did that. Man, that thing's dusty, it needs to go outside and get cleaned. But anyway, yeah, we'll get this sorted and go from there. Righty, so I've just popped this up here to cool down. so it's not sitting on there where it's obviously getting pretty warm. But it's twisted. Yeah, I think it's obviously because these here, as I've welded, have expanded in the length. So because I can pull it back the other way and I can stand on it quite easily. It flattens out easy, like it's not a fight. But I just wonder if maybe I put not that I really want it, but maybe if I just put a couple of cuts in it, in a couple of places, and see if it'll flick back and then weld them back up. I don't know. I should have used my head when I was welding those strips in and they started buckling. I probably should have just started at one end, and as it started buckling, they didn't just trim it off, and that would probably stop that, I'm guessing. That's the first time I've had to, well, I wouldn't, done something a bit like that, if you know what I mean. And obviously, as I put each one in there, it got worse. It's not a biggie. It can be fixed and it flattens out a piece of piss. Like once it was bolted on, it wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, a bit of a pain. I was hoping that would stay flat. So yeah, what we might do is I might just leave this one. Like I've still got to do. I probably could just actually do it like that. Just do a tack each side in the middle instead of doing both sides. Yeah, I'm thinking that might be a better way to do it, because that's what I've done now in this one as well. I didn't do that in both. I did it on both sides of the ear. I'm just wondering maybe if I can hold through there. But anyway, that's no biggie. Yeah, I wonder when I do this one on a line up and then you just go along, and as it starts bowing, cut it, and then I'll be able to see whether this one does the same thing. What's the buckle? And then I might be able to work out whether I can cut one of these, like, I don't know, not that I really want to put too many cuts in it, but if I can cut one in a couple of places and just see if it relaxes it. Worst comes to worst, you know what I mean? Either that or just, it is what it is. I've tried, I thought I might have been able to flex it to straighten it, but it just pops back the other way. So it's obviously the length of it's changed somewhere. Yeah, and it's not as though I could, if I had a planishing hammer, you could probably put it in between the bits and planish it and probably stretch it a little. And it would just, grow by like a mill or whatever, and the steel of the panel, and it would probably relieve it. But I just wonder, just a couple of, just run the thin cut disc through those ribs, and then just weld it back up again. Yeah, it's not something I've, like had a major issue with. Like obviously different things do different things, but yeah, I didn't think about it. I just thought, I'll just hold it and walk, because when it started to buckle, it's what made me think that's what's done it. But we'll work it out with that one. We'll see if I can stop it from doing that one by just tacking it, and then as it's getting hotter and expanding, then just keep trimming a little bit off each end. Or maybe I should just trim it a little bit short for a start off, and as I'm welding it on there, as it grows, then it mightn't do it. I don't know. I guess we'll work that out Monday. I'm not too worried about it at the moment. It's not a biggie. It's not savable, or I can just lay it on the floor and just put my one foot on it and just put a wee bit of pressure on it and it just flattens off. So there's not a lot making it twist. So, and it's not, I don't think it's going to be a big issue once it's bolted down in freaking like 4 places. Yeah, 4 positions, I guess you call it, across the thing. So it'll flatten off. I don't think it's going to be a major issue if it comes to that, if you know what I mean. Pain in the ass, but I'd like to see if I can maybe just, like I said, slice it and see if it just flattens out. If I cut it and it starts pinging back, well, we know we solved the issue. Take the stretch out of those strips. I think that's probably what's done it. It's just it was starting to buckle. It probably just needed a, you know, I probably just need to cut 1/4 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch. Those are a little bit short, and I might do that, just cut them a touch short, you know, that much. And then if it expands and it grows, well, it doesn't fucking matter anymore. Right, so we've got quite a good little gap this time. Like, what can I say? Like that tape fits in there quite easy, like, you know, and there's quite a gap there, as you can probably see. There's a good, I don't know, it's probably not 1/4 of an inch, but it's a bit more than an 1/8, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we'll tack it one each side where I'm going to burn in, and we'll just go along here. We'll probably get a fairly good hot tack in there, and then we'll see how much it moves down. And I think if it closes this gap up, what I'll do is I'll just run the cutting disc back down there again, if you know what I mean. I think that's what's happened to this. It's really forced, because I had to straighten them, and I think that's what's bit me. It's as I've been straightening them, and it's keep forcing it straight. That's fighting me. So now I think hopefully if I go through with that thick cutting disc and zap, you know, if maybe hopefully two or three places will pull it. Basically just been a matter of putting the cutting disc in at once, I guess, and seeing, and then probably doing it across all three, and then just have to hopefully just weld the gap up, if you know what I mean, and it doesn't do the same thing again. Right, so we got that far. So yeah, it's still trying to twist up. I don't think there's much I can do about it, but it lays flat with pretty minimal pressure. So I don't think there's much I can do about it. And this one here is trying to twist too. I think it's just the nature of how I'm trying to make them. I think if you folded it all, you know, and done it like how it was originally, but that's a lot of little folds to try and get to work it all together. I think it's, look at this one, so it's like all separate bits and it's all joined together, and I don't, yeah, it's, I think how it works is this here, trying to see, but I think it goes like that and then comes up and over and around and up and over and around. That's a prick to make. Well, especially something like that. Like if you had a industrial folder where you could actually probably make that and then make that a 90, but make that like a 45 and then bend it, and then you could actually come back in here and squeeze it closed. I've done that before on big industrial machines years ago. You know, and then you could do the same things as you went down through it, and you would get it to work, and then you'd fold this edge round, and then you'd better, you know, obviously do all the other bits and pieces and make the brackets. But anyway, I'm making them like I am because it's simpler and it'll work, and it mimics the original to a degree, if you know what I mean. It looks the same underneath, but except it's got welds on it instead of joint pieces. But anyway, we'll do some quick measurements of this, and we'll make up a piece. I'll take a rough measurement. We need 8 per thing, so we'll just see how much of a length we can make up, and we'll make up this, and then we'll just cut it into lengths or into pieces. Then we can drill a hole through them all. We can get a bolt in there. Yeah, we can just sandwich a little bolt and put a few tacks in it, and then weld them on. So whatever they are, they'll be about the same depth as what this is, which, so obviously I'm working off that depth. And yeah, we'll just make them up. And we'll go to a quick length. They look like they're about 1 inch long or thereabouts. Use my little bit of tape that I was using before. It's an old rule, it's just handy, you know. Just cut it to close to the 100 mil or whatever. And it's just handy for measuring little stuff like this. Doing little bits and pieces. See, it's a bit over 1 inch. So yeah, we'll work out what we need, and we'll fold up a little piece. Doesn't need to be that heavy by the looks of that. I'll have a look, see what I've got over there in the way of scrap. So it's about 3/4 deep, and it's that, about 1/2 inch that way. About 15 mil, so it's about, yeah, it's about 1/2 inch there, so about 13 mils. That's about 15 mil or a bit more over there. It's probably 5/8 sort of thing. 3/4 up, roughly. I think that's what this is anyway. Yeah, 19 mil, 15, 20 mil up. So we'll make it the same depth as what this is in those rough measurements, and then we'll work out those exact positions, and we'll just mark it out here and weld them on. Because there's a little bit of play in the holes in the whatever you want to call those, the brackets that come out from the chassis. So there's a little bit of play in them from memory, but yeah, we'll make them up and get them in the right place and weld them on. Right, just on the way to have a look at a car. I'll do a quick video when I get there, hopefully. I'll take a few photos anyway, but you just so a bit of reference. Hopefully we can work out some sort of deal to get it back here in the next day or two, if you know what I mean. And then I've got another one to look at on the way back. I'll do it in two hits. Might as well do it all in one go, if you know what I mean. Yeah, just this guy wanted me to be there at a certain time, and I said, well, if you want me to be there at a certain time, let me know, and I'll be there. So I said, oh, can you be there in about half an hour? And I was like, well, I had a look at the frickin' Google Maps, and I was like, yeah, you should better be there in half an hour or close to it. So I'll be a couple of minutes either way. So yeah, I'll better just do the other one on the way back, because it's kind of on the way back. It's a slightly different direction, if you know what I mean, but it'll work, so we'll make it work. Anyway, we'll see you when we get back. Righty. Oh, here's the it's a little Morris Marina. Little 1800. It was actually only on the road not long ago, like 2020 was the last time I was on the road, but it needs some windscreen rubbers sorted, needs some paint repaired. It's actually in pretty good order. Obviously just go through the motor and just make sure it's running okay. The bracing in the hood or bonnet is come loose. It needs rot on both front and guards fixed, and upholstery done. So there's actually some guys in Dipton that I want to talk to. So I might give them a yell when we pull the seats and everything out of it. Take the seats and stuff to them. Yeah, this lady wants to get it cleaned up and drive around, so hopefully we can just leave the mechanical alone. But it was going in 2020 and she said she was driving it around, so but it couldn't get through its next inspection, obviously, because it's rust and little bits and pieces. So yeah, we'll just go through it. We'll try and get a really good match for the paint, because if we don't have to paint everything, we won't. Because she did think about maybe changing the colour to purple, but I said in some ways it'd be better off to leave it alone. Like if we can leave as much original, it makes it worth more, especially when it's a good little tidy little car. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. I've got to try and organise to get a trailer to get it here so I can pick it up, so I'll have to try and do that as well. But yeah, so yeah, we'll go from there. I'll do a quick couple of phone calls later on today, and then I'll see if she can deposit some money in the account and we'll drag it back. Right, get out of here. So the job is definitely mine. So it needs upholstery and bits and pieces done to it. Nothing huge, but there'll still be a few dollars worth in it. So we will. I'm going to make a couple of phone calls. I don't need to find out what the windscreen rubbers kit's worth and a few bits and pieces like that, so we can get that organised. And there's some new upholstery guys at Dipton that I haven't really had anything to do with, but had a few recommendations if I need anything done to go to them. So I'm going to give them a try for this one, because I've got a upholstery machine, but it's not really my forte yet. I'd like to do it on my own stuff first. But yeah, we'll work on that. I'll send them a couple of photos and say, look, the seats are in pretty good repair. Just generally, they obviously need some bits fixed. Maybe, obviously, if you can't match really nice, maybe just recover the whole lot. But yeah, I'll get a couple of ideas of just some rough prices on that, and the windscreen rubbers. You know, the paint's pretty easy. It's not going to need a lot of paint, but maybe a litre or two will cover that. So that shouldn't be too bad. You know, it's a bit of primer and whatever. It's more, the cost of the upholstery and the windscreen rubbers and shit like that. That will be the first deposit is, in a few hours work, obviously. Because I've got to go through the motor and get it running. It's like it's been running, so that shouldn't be too difficult. It's only been since 2020 since the last time I was on the road, so and run and drive into the year, so it shouldn't be difficult. Now it probably needs some tyres because they're old, a few things like that. So we'll work on it, and yeah, it should be a good little, an easy but good little project. You know what I mean? Like it'll be quite a nice little turnaround. I think it'll be quite a smart little. Little cruiser for the lady. She's got a little pop-top camper she wants to pull behind it. It'll be fine. So we'll just go through it, just make sure it runs and drives all right, and all those sorts of things. Go from there. So since it hasn't been on the road, it should be still registration on hold. So all she'll have to do is go get a warrant on it and whatever, and get into it. So it should be a fun little project for a wee bit. Like it'll be a few $1,000s in it, but yeah, should be pretty good. I just want to get some rough prices so I know where I'm coming and going with those sorts of things and get into it. Right, just on the way to have a look at the second little car. It's a Morris Minor, I think. go have a look, see what the condition that's like, and hopefully work out a plan. And we'll have a couple of little cars in the workshop in the meantime, and then yeah, maybe another one at the weekend. But yeah, so first one's basically good to go. I'm just waiting on some prices back to just a rough idea for upholstery, and then the windscreen rubbers and a few other things, like, you know, I can make up a rough idea for like oils and all that sort of stuff, because it'll probably need a good service, that little car. We're just trying to work out, just so I can get those pieces on their way. You know, I can drop the seats out and wait for their windscreen rubbers and stuff. So if I can get a bit of a ballpark that, and I can add an extra, you know, a couple of, oh no, probably four grand on there for a start off anyway, extra, and that should cover most things, you know, paint and a bit of body work and time and whatever, and then we'll just assess what it goes from there, you know. I would probably put tyres on it and all those sorts of things. I'll just have to have a good look, you know, to see what they're like. Obviously we'll go through and just have a good check over it, check the brakes and all those sorts of things, make sure it's all good. But at least it hasn't been on the road terribly long ago, you know. 3 or 4 years isn't that long in the grand scheme of things. So anyway, we'll go have a look at that little car, and yeah, and we'll touch base again. Right, awesome. So yeah, both cars sorted, should be here in the next day or whatever. So I'm just waiting for a deposit from the lady with the little Morris Marina. So yeah, we're gonna end up, you know, some paint work, some upholstery. I'll have to go and see the upholsterers, and hopefully they can fit it in between some jobs, because I feel well booked out, but they said they've got a little bit of space here and there, you know. Obviously it depends on how the jobs fall. So hopefully that won't take them too long to get that done, and hopefully they can get a decent match with upholstery, hopefully. Yeah, because some of the other upholstery is pretty good, isn't it? Like, and the seats are pretty good in places too, but they said in some ways it's just as easy to replace all the upholstery, because then if we can't get a match, it looks weird. So worst case scenario, you know, X amount of dollars, so that's what I've budgeted on, you know, for them to do full upholstery and replace the foam, and, you know, a few spring repairs and whatever. If they don't have to spend that much, well, that's fine, you know. We can sort that later, and we can put it back into doing stuff in the car. So obviously you're going to have to go, we'll have a look through the brakes and all that sort of stuff, and make sure that's all working well. We'll change the oil, we'll change the trans fluid and all that sort of bullshit, and we'll go through it and whatever. I don't mind doing that sort of stuff, you know, having a good look through, just make sure everything is safe and working and all that sort of bullshit. You know, if I can get the missus down here, she can pump the brakes and whatever, and we can check them and bleed them and just make sure that all that stuff's good. Change the fluid in the trans, change the fluid in the motor, you know, check the diff oil. We might as well go through and refresh it all. She's going to be told we tamper with it, you know, and then we can go through and fix the paint. And whether we do a full repaint on it or not, I don't know. We'll assess that as we go through it. Like, there's a few panels, a few bits need painted, apart from the rust work. There's a couple bits where it's really scabby and shabby. So, and then the other little car is a Morris Minor, but it's been modified. So it's got a little Datsun 1200 in it. So they're going to actually get that rebuilt and hot it up. I think it's going to have a 4 or 5 speed gearbox in it, probably just a 4 speed, the box that was in it, or something similar. But some of the modifications, it's been what we call certified here in New Zealand, but a long time ago. The plates are now dead. So we're going to go through and we're going to pretty up some of the modifications they've done, just clean it up and make sure it's safe and sound, and weld some shit up properly, and obviously go through and do some body work and paint it and whatever, and probably be upholstery and carpet and shit on that as well. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do, but yeah, we'll go through we'll strip the diff out of it and clean it all up, paint it. It's kind of I wouldn't say open checkbook, but it's a fairly loose checkbook on that one. So like, it's going to be sort of a full restoration modification. So yeah, it's going to be a bit more in depth than just body work. So we'll be going through that. We'll clean everything up. We'll strip, you know, we'll pull the diff out of it and we'll clean it up all underneath and whatever like that. And under seal it all and whatever, and then we'll clean all the dip up, paint it, and then we'll go through and probably check bearings and pull the dip head out and have a good inspection, make sure it's no fucking massive backlash in it and all that sort of shit, and put it back in, you know, maybe throw a few fresh seals in it, and we'll do all those sorts of things. So yeah, there should be plenty in that one. So yeah, we'll have to keep a bit more of a tighter reins and all the bits. Anyway, so yeah, and then there's also a couple, this other one that hopefully I get a look at the weekend too. So before these go to head, I'm definitely going to go get that DeSoto. I think it's for $3 grand, it's worth grabbing, and hopefully, yeah, all those other ones come to head. It shouldn't be too much of an issue, I don't think. We'll really make it work. Anyway, what was I going to do? We'll clean these up. We'll make up some brackets. So I was going to do that before I left, but then I ended up corresponding with this guy, and he said, "Oh, lady now." Sorry, I thought it was a man. Yeah, it's this lady. So yeah, we end up just going there and having a look. So yeah, it should be a pretty nice little board. I don't think it'd be super expensive, but there might be, I don't know, ballpark figure by the time we do the upholstery and a few other bits and pieces, and obviously just give it a good check over and replace a few bits and pieces and make sure it's safe for her. And obviously have a good poke around, make sure there's no rot and other silly things going on, because the windscreen rubbers are absolutely stuffed on it, as you probably see in the couple of little bits of footage I did. So yeah, by the time you go through and do all those bits and pieces and get all that stuff in and get it fitted and, you know, fix the paint and whatever, you know, it'll be, might be 15 grand-ish, maybe. It will take, you know, it could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more than that. I don't know, you just don't know what you're going to find, you know. But we'll go through it and we'll check it and make sure all the shocks and all that sort of bullshit are good, you know. It's not hard to pull them off and have a good look around it and give it a good clean up underneath and whatever. It's kind of sort of the same, you know. We'll just give it a really good go over it, and, you know, we'll give it a clean up here and there. We'll flick a bit of paint on suspension stuff and just make sure it's nice and tidy and clean. And that's kind of sort of builders. I don't think the checkbooks, I wouldn't say it's open on that either, but it's kind of loosish within reason, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's where a two-post horse hatch would be fucking handy, because I could just whip one up and pull some Hobie beats off it and clean it all up and then put them all back on again, if you know what I mean. Check all the bushings and shit. And yeah, so that'll be where we're going with that. I can't push the play button. I thought I was talking to myself, but I wasn't. So I made our little brackets. We've made 16, so we'll have to go get some hardware and then we'll weld them on, and I'll punch some little holes in there with my flanging tool, flanging punch tool. Thanks, Bill from Hombre Garage. Good little tool. Like the only thing I've said, I just wish they would make one that had a deeper throat into here where it goes in. I just wish they had one that went in there an extra, you know, quarter of an inch. So if you wanted to, if you go in a little bit deeper, I would have two, you know, one with the shallow, one with the deep, because just sometimes there's the odd panel where you want it to be in a bit deeper, because just the way they've spot welded it on, it's just, you know, like sometimes you get a bigger edge before the spot weld, and it'd be nice to be able to get it close to where the original was, if you know what I mean, when you're plug welding. But hey, that's small gripe. One day I'll figure out whether I can get one or not. I just haven't come across it, you know what I mean. I know they do make one with a bigger punch as well. I think this is 6 mil. Does that sound right? I think that would be right. Oh, where's me verniers? That's 5.5-ish. Yeah, so it's a 6 mil punch. So I think they make an 8 mil as well, which would be 6 mils, a bit over a quarter. And 8mm is 5/16 roughly. So yeah, I think that's 2 different sizes. But yeah, at some point I will look into maybe the 8mm, maybe that might be a little bit further in, because it's a bit bigger punch, that might be a little deeper. I'll have to do some research at some point, I don't know. But yeah, I'll be definitely getting another one at some point, maybe even get the straight one instead of the gun version, if you know what I mean. But yeah, freaking handy tool, it's absolutely awesome. Anyway, we will go get some bolts, and then we can finish putting these things together in the morning, and then hopefully, yeah, hear back from this lady about the message I sent her with a wee bit of info with some pricing, and get a trailer organised to pick that up, and then yeah, hopefully that other car will be probably dropped here maybe tomorrow or the day after. So yeah, we have 2 little British cars in here, and then maybe a third, you know, after the weekend or something like that. But 2 will get me going. That'd be awesome. So yeah, we'll better dig into those and find out what they need and get into them.